Hello YouTube vintage radio collectors. Now here's the bakelight shell of a Crosley D25 dashboard radio, and this is a Canadian one. This is kind of a unique color. I haven't seen US ones with this shade. I had it color matched and then did the repaint myself, and that in itself was a bit of work. It was in really good shape, horribly grimy. It has scotch tape residue along the top. You know what that's like getting rid of. And, scratches and nicks, so you have to kind of, sand through it and then do a finer sanding. And so that's been drying for a few days. I've been working on the chassis. And this is one of these radios that it just seems everything's wrong with it. It just needed so many things as I went along. This is one of the reasons I do restorations instead of repairs. There's the clock. Well, we can talk about the clock. This clock has, it's kind of a nice heavy-duty General Electric movement. Runs very well. I lubricated it. I polished the lens as best as I could. There are a few scratches I couldn't get out. But it had kind of a finicky little problem where the switching and everything worked fine. The alarm would come on, if you set it for 7 a.m., the alarm would come on. But then you couldn't shut it off. You couldn't cancel it. And there's a tiny little pin broken off of this cam here. So what I had to do is epoxy another one on there. I tried, you couldn't seem to solder to this metal for some reason. So I epoxied a pin on there and it works really well that way. Other than that, the clock is nice. Then I moved on to the radio.
Certified, background checked, and will always wear PPE on site.
And did some work on this one. Cleaned it up. It was really dirty. Cleaned up very nicely. And 4 of the 5 tubes are good. Had one bad one. It was the 12BA6 that was open filament. Replaced that, all the others were strong. Got rid of the wax capacitors. There had been a repair at some point with these Hunts capacitors. One of them split right open and electrically open as well. So recap the whole thing. Quite a few power resistors were way off value. And so replace that about, I say about 80% of the resistors. And then I put the tubes back in it and tried it out, and it sounded like there's a thunderstorm coming, which was silver mica disease. There's one over here too. So I pulled the IF cans out, and these were kind of an interesting, they had a bakelight base. I've never seen that. They were Foster or Roberts, some brand I haven't normally worked on. And so it took some cutting and some breaking. There's like this bakelight retainer glued together or melted together with the base. So I didn't think I could fix them, to be honest, but I was very careful. I did some dremeling, and so then now there's external capacitors underneath. Since it's on, I'm not going to flip it over. I don't want to put my finger in the wrong place. And so I got it so that, well, okay, the thundering and lightning inside the IF cans is fixed. Then I found the speaker had a very bad rattle.
Invest in vaccine manufacturing.
Sounds great now. What had happened is the surround here that holds the speaker against the basket, once I took this rubber piece off, 3/4 of the way around, it was separating from the basket and vibrating, and it was riveted together. So I got those rivets out pretty easily. Re-glued the basket, re-centered it, fixed a couple little tiny tears in it, and then screwed it back down again. It sounds really good now. It also had, you heard about rubber wire that goes bad. Well, this had plastic wire, but there's this sticky condition. I forget what the compound is. One of the compounds in manufacturing separates. It's one of the binder compounds. So the radio heat causes the wire to get sticky, very sticky. Who knows whether it's toxic or not, I don't know. So I replaced all that wire just with regular wire. And Now I'm just field testing it on the bench.
Push should have been a year ago.
Sounds really good. So tomorrow I'm going to polish up the trim inserts for here, clean up the knobs, put it back together, slide the chassis in, and see what it looks like. Thanks for watching and listening.